Hi guys, this is Rose from a Catholic homeschooling family.
Hi guys.
And it is March 21st, 12:39 p.m. and it is our fourth day in quarantine. Self-imposed quarantine, okay? Not that we're like being obligated to, but just for the safety of my children, I want to keep them home. But so this video is actually going to be about why I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, this is a sensitive subject, and I have not been wanting to say what some people do know why I moved, but I hadn't wanted to say it because some people are gonna get upset. So everybody, you guys know that I homeschool, and in Laredo there wasn't very much homeschooling activity. Now there was when I first joined, like 4 years ago. I'm completing my third year. So I started homeschooling when my son was in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade. So I'm completing my 4th year. And when I first started, there was quite a bit of homeschooling activity. But I would notice that there was actually very few bigger kids, and there was a lot of like homeschooling moms that weren't actually homeschooling moms. They were just like finding play groups for their little kids until they actually sent them to school. And that would really get on my nerves. And mostly it was outnumbered by little kids. Stop. This little boy has been on me all day. My little baby, he's right there in the bed. But this guy right here won't leave me alone. I don't know why, it's so weird. He's a daddy's boy. The daddy's not here. It is Saturday and my husband is at work. Where's daddy?
Daddy?
Outside? No, he's not outside. He's at work. Say work. Work? Okay. Anyways, so I really wanted to go somewhere. I got a message. When I get messages, I don't know if you guys see them or not. I'm sorry if it makes a noise or if it like skips or something in the video. But anyways, I had really wanted to move somewhere where there would be a lot more homeschoolers. That was a bonus. That wasn't the main reason why we wanted to move, but that was like a big, big bonus. So I'm gonna tell you that. Now I'm gonna get into it, okay? Now I'm kind of scared and nervous. All right. So I love to do research. I don't know if I've said this before. I probably have said it before. I'm sure I have said it before. I just don't know how often I've said it. But I'm gonna say it again. I love to do research. For me, if I could get a job, stop. If I could get a job doing research, I would be in heaven. I love to do research. Like, if you give me a topic to research, I like almost like a super focuser. I get super into it. My husband says, apasionada, that's in Spanish, because my husband's like Mexican. Like, I'm Mexican too, but I'm Mexican American. My husband's like Mexican from Mexico City, which is the capital of Mexico. Anyways, I get very passionate and like excited and almost to the point where it kind of like that's all I can think about. It's really crazy. When you give me a subject to study, of course I kind of have to be at least a little bit interested in it. If not, I just totally will not do it. I get really into it, and I research and I research and I research and I research like hours and hours and hours. Like on my free time after I've taken care of my kids and I've, done a little bit of like picking up and organizing. I don't really like watch TV because most of my time is like focused on, my free time is focused on research, right? And so that's what I've done with almost everything. So all my decisions that I make, not all, but my major decisions that I make, I've done research on them first for like a while. And in extensive research, right? Not just like looked at 2 or 3 websites. No. I spent hours. Now that I've said that, I used to have a friend, and she was my best friend for a really long time. And I've shown her on here before. You scared me. I've shown her on here before, and I've talked about her, mentioned her before. So me and her would talk about all sorts of things. But one of the main topics that we would talk about was, our faith. And one day I told her, this was like a year ago. About a year and a half ago. I have it written down because I buy planners. And in my planners, I use them as planners / diaries. I write down important events or things that have made an impact on me in my planner. And I have that date written down when this all occurred. But I think Easy was a newborn, and he's now 2. So it's been like a year and a half, I would say. But I don't have the date, and it really is not that important. I just want to tell you how fast everything happened, okay? So let's say it was about a year and a half. I can't believe I don't remember. It was kind of like a life-altering day. Anyways, so this particular day, maybe about a year and a half ago, I went to my friend's house because we would get together all the time. And I told her something. I said, you know what? I feel kind of embarrassed and I feel bad for saying this, but I need to get it off my chest. I need to say it. I know it. And then I said, I know that it's crazy and it's weird and I feel a little bit bad, but a lot of the Catholic people that I know, they're not really very Catholic at all, And the Pope, this is Pope Francis, right? He makes me feel weird. Every time I look at him on the TV, I feel so weird and I don't like him and I don't know why. Everybody loves him. He's like the people's Pope and he's so open and accepting and compassionate and everybody loves him. Everybody. But I don't understand why I don't. Okay. What? What? And then I was like, I know that I'm crazy, but that's just how I feel and I wish I knew why. And then she said, no, you're not crazy. Actually, there's a lot of people, a lot of people, at the Vatican and the council and stuff that don't like him. And she's like, you should go look into this book called, OMG, I forgot. The Dictator Pope. Okay. All right. So I was like, okay, I will. So that night I went home. Like I said, I had finished everything that I had needed to do. And all of this stuff usually happens like around 10 o'clock at night. That day, I think it was like 7 o'clock. I fed my kids super fast. I think it was a Thursday. I fed my kids super fast. And I was so anxious, like, to read about it. So I started looking into the book. And then there's a lot of things I would say, not great things about Francis. And so, sorry, my son knocked the... Stop.
Yeah?
Yeah, stop. Behave yourself. Yeah. He keeps trying to play with the windowsill. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Ow.
Yes, ow. Go away. Go upstairs and play with toys.
No.
Uh-oh. Take your teta to the table. Go. Take it to the table. Córrele. Pa allá, pa allá, pa allá. No, not right there. Pa allá, pa la mesa.
Oh.
See, I know. You're going to spill it. Go. Take it to the table. Take it to the table. Go. Okay. So, actually, went home, did the started doing research. And then, mentioned there wasn't that many good things. There was a lot of not good things being said. And that my research just kept on evolving. And it was like one thing pointed to another thing, to another thing, to another thing. And for days, weeks, I was researching like every day. Like I said, I get really into my research. I love it. It's super fun for me. Like, for real. I love to learn. Like, I love to learn the stuff that I want to learn. I don't really care about science or history that much. A little bit of history. Math. Like, I don't research those. I don't care about those things. I care a little bit of, about knowing what's going on in the economy, of course. But as far as math, even though economy is more like business. But anyways, I came across something like that was like a traditional Catholic, a forum, or maybe it was. So I looked at a lot of stuff, but then I started to see like traditional Catholics. They were more aligned with my beliefs, as as far as how true Catholics should behave. But that led me to something called Sedevacantist or Sedevacantism. Now, I'm going to have to make another video explaining what Sedevacantist is, okay? And I'll try to make it very understandable, because I kind of had a hard time processing and understanding what it was. But I kept on. This video was about why we came to Dallas, okay? So, we'll make a video about that later. Let me finish this. So, when I looked into the Sedevacantist ideas, they actually made a whole lot of sense to me. And it made so much sense to me that I really was thinking, this is it. This is right, and this is true, and this is this all makes sense. So what ended up happening was that at that point I got like really fired up about it. But at the same time, so like my heart was telling me that this was right. But in my mind, I kept trying to say, this all makes sense, but I really need to try to stick with the Pope and everything that comes from him. And so then for like 2 weeks straight, every single day for 2 weeks straight, literally, I would cry and cry and cry. Literally would cry with tears and anguish, because I was so scared that I was going to make the wrong decision. I didn't know if I should stay with the Pope and the situation the way it is, or if I should go with the true faith. At that time, I wasn't sure if it was the true faith. I believed that it was, but because the society was telling me that I needed to stick to this over here, it was kind of confusing me a little bit, even though I was already leaning towards Sedevacantism. I was crying every single day because I was so scared to make the wrong decision, if I make the wrong decision, I damn my whole family. I damn my children. And it was so painful to me. That was so scary and it's so painful to me to know that what I do, what I decide to do could affect my children, my grandchildren, and my, all my future generations. It was so scary. So that I literally cried and prayed every single day for 2 weeks straight. And I didn't just cry a little tear. I cried like in anguish. And I would tell my husband, he would get home from work and we'd talk about it for hours and hours and hours. I spent lots of hours, going over everything, all the points and stuff with my husband and crying until finally, at the end of the 2 weeks, and I did do a novena too. At the end of the 2 weeks, I felt peace. And I knew that the Sedevacantist belief was the right religion, the true Catholic faith. And that this other stuff that I thought was Catholic was indeed not Catholic. And so when I did come to, when the Holy Spirit did lead me to the truth, that's when I made the decision that I had to be Sedevacantist, and that I needed to, take my family to where I could get more guidance and more support with that. And so once I just made that decision, I told my husband, you know what, babe, we have to move. I have to move. I really want to move. I need to find my church. And so there was maybe like a 6-month process, and then it was maybe about a year to where my husband was like, he wasn't very dedicated at looking for another job. He was, but he wasn't, only because he's like, if I apply somewhere, they're gonna want me to go for an interview, and I have another job. It's not like I can just take off and drive to hours and hours and hours to wherever to get a job interview and to come back. He's like, that would be very hard to do and very expensive to do. And so he would apply, he's like, okay, well, if they call me for an interview, I guess I'll go. It was one of those things where he wasn't really focused on looking for a job. And so that kind of went on for like, I want to say like a year. Okay. Then one day he came home from work. So then remember I made a video about all the stuff that my husband had gotten a promotion, and then he had, okay, guess what? Okay, so around the time I was discovering Sedevacantist, he had gotten this great promotion. He had really wanted this position for years. Like, that was his whole goal. He had wanted this position for years. Then, around the time, more or less, that I had discovered Sedevacantism, they terminated his position. There was 2 positions, superintendent, okay? There was 2 superintendent positions. They had terminated, there was a kind of like a crisis. And they ended up having to remove one of the 2 superintendents. So, because the other guy had seniority. Now, the other guy had been there for like 40, 50 years. He was already on the verge of retirement, but he hadn't retired. Everybody was like, when is he going to leave? He started that job when he was like 18 or something. He was there his whole life. And anyways, there was 2 positions. My husband had one, and the other guy had the other one. With the same one would manage 2 bridges, and the other one would manage the other 2 bridges. So they had to do away with one of the 2 positions, and since the other guys had seniority, they took my husband's. It was nothing he did wrong. He was actually amazing at that job. So they took away my husband's position, and they said that there was only going to be one superintendent. Give him the phone. It's his turn. Here, easy. Give me the ball. Yeah. Yeah, you watch, play with the phone. Go upstairs and play with toys. Yeah, shh, I'm not making a video. Say hi. So, they undid the position, my husband's position, and one superintendent was going to take. You want me to put Blippi for you? Okay. They had to give my husband his prior position, which was just supervisor. And besides that, they actually had Blippi. They actually did terminate. Not that they didn't like terminate. Well, I guess they did terminate a lot of positions. They just did a whole restructure of the whole city. And a lot of people actually lost their jobs. And my husband actually was one of the kind of lucky ones that he didn't lose his job, but he did get like a downgrade. And that really upset my husband. But he was kind of okay with it because it wasn't like a personal thing. And then so there was like a tragedy, right? Not a tragedy, but a crisis or something at the city. So they did that. But a few months later, maybe like 3 months later, they decided that they needed to get rid of more people. And it was just one of those things. So they set up some type of system to where they would kind of it was like an incentive for the older employees to kind of decide to leave on their own. And so they set that up, and it was pretty good. It was pretty, pretty neat setup, and a lot of older people did benefit from that. At that point, the older gentleman that had taken over my husband's role, so instead of my husband having 2 and the older gentleman having 2, the older gentleman kept 4. At that point, he decided that he was going to retire. And so he did retire. He left. And they reopened up that particular position. Everybody thought my husband was going to get it. He had already done it. Stop, Mia. Please. Be careful. It's not a toy. It's kids. They love the baby so much. Mommy! I know, Flippy. So, my husband applied. They told my husband, okay, you have to go through the same process as everybody else. Everybody's going to get the same opportunity. Everybody's going to be able to apply, blah, blah, blah. And so everybody assumed that because my husband had already held the position, and because, he was actually very good at that position. And my husband was already kind of like, he had been at the bridge a while now. And he had held various positions. He was very, I can't think of the word, but he had pretty much gotten experience in every department for the bridge. They thought that he was like the best. Everybody knew he was the best candidate. But for some reason, they actually, he applied and everything. And they ended up not giving him the position. It was like almost like nepotism, although that we don't know if there was like any actual family connections. There was something weird. They ended up giving the position to a very young lady who didn't have very long at the bridge, maybe like 2 years, who hadn't held she had only just had one position at the bridge the whole time. She had no experience in anything in relation to how the bridge was run. They gave it to her, and everybody was in shock, and my husband was devastated. He was so upset. He couldn't understand what had happened. And so that really just demoralized him and discouraged him, and it was just it was, my husband got very upset. And so that was kind of like the breaking point to where my husband was like, you know what? He did try to hang on. Did try to hang around the bridge for a couple more months, but it was just one of those things. Yes. I know, Blippi. If I don't like acknowledge him, he'll keep screaming. So that was kind of one of the things that happened, and I think everything had to happen. Everything that happened had to have happened in order for us to move. You know. Now, so one day my husband comes home. Oh, in the meantime, this whole time, for like a year and a half or whatever, I'm telling my husband, I want to move, babe. Well, for like a year. I want to move, babe. I want to move, babe. I want to move, babe. I want to move. We didn't know where we were going to go. Like, there's a really nice church in Houston, which we attended to once. And then there was another church in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I was like, where do we go? And now I learned that the priests actually, there's a couple of priests that they travel all around Texas. They go to different churches, but at the time I didn't know. I just knew that there was two, one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and one in Houston. Well, actually, one of them was right next to the town, like literally next to the town, like 5 minutes away. I grew up in Sugar Land. This the church was in Stafford. They're neighbors. So that was really like, hi, little baby Mia. Stop. Everybody leave me alone. Everybody leave me alone. So anyways, the church was in Stafford. And that really made me want to kind of go there because, I grew up there and I really liked it there. I made a lot of friends there. But, the one thing, stop. The one thing that I didn't like was that it rains so much over there. It's ridiculous. And it's actually, I think it's really, really humid because, Galveston is there. So that was kind of like the reasons why I decided that probably and I get very hot. I'm a person that I sweat a lot. It's horrible. I hate the heat. So that was kind of the reasons why I decided to come to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, because of the weather. Not really because it's hotter in Houston, but more because of the rain. There's a lot of floods and things like that. So I decided Dallas-Fort Worth was a better area. So then my husband comes home one day. And I had already said that we had already decided that Dallas-Fort Worth was the place to go. Dallas in particular. I really wanted to be in Dallas. I don't know why. I just did. Okay, mamita. Can you just deal with it, please, while I'm trying to finish my video. I never get to make videos because of you guys, and I want to make this video, but nobody leaves me alone. Okay. Can you help me out, please, daughter? Just while I make this video. Thank you. So my husband comes home one day, and this was like in the middle of the night, right? He got home like around 12:30 at night. And I had been waiting for him because it was like a Saturday. And he comes home and he just randomly says, hey, so you want to move? And I was like, okay, yeah, I do. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, you're joking. He's like, no, let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, well, I really? Okay. So that was like a Saturday night. So then a couple of days passed, right? And so we were like, what do we do? So like Sunday, like we're like, yeah, let's move or whatever. That was Saturday night. So then like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we were trying to decide if we were gonna rent the house or if we were gonna sell the house. And then we were thinking, well, if we rent, we can rent it out right away and leave right away. But why are you opening the door? But if we sell, then we don't have to worry about tenants. Or having to deal with anything. And so my husband was like, well, if we rent it out, we can make a little bit of extra income, build more equity in the house, blah blah blah. But then we'd have to deal with tenants. We can have my father-in-law, like my husband was like, we can have my dad. And I was like, okay. He would manage it, the property or whatever. But we're like, oh, but it's just too much hassle. And if something breaks down, then we have to pay for it out of pocket, blah, blah, blah. And so we decided that, you know, this was something we kept debating. But like, if we put it on the market, it's going to take forever to sell. And we want to leave right away. So finally, we're like, you know what? If we have to wait, we have to wait. But at least when we leave, we'll be stress-free. So we'll put it for sale. By Wednesday, so we made the decision. On Wednesday, so I am a realtor, but I am not a very active realtor. So I talked to my broker, and so we signed all the, he did a lot of the work for me because, you know, for my kids or whatever. We signed the listing agreement. Then that was like Wednesday night. We put it up Thursday. We actually like put in the information on Thursday. We had a showing on Thursday. We had another showing on Friday. On Friday, so this was like my second showing, right? Friday night, somebody goes to see it. Friday after, this was like around 6 or something. Somebody goes and sees it. That same Friday night, like 7:00 p.m., the broker realtor on the buying side calls me and says, "Hey, we're gonna make an offer." I was like, he's like, "Have you had any other offers?" I said, "No, we just listed it yesterday." This was Friday. We just listed it yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I didn't think so." But this was over the phone. I'm just making the face like because it sounded like he was thinking. He's like, "Yeah, no, I didn't think so." And then he's like, well, okay, that's okay. We're gonna still make an offer. Look out for an email. Shh. And I said, okay. So it was Friday night, like maybe like at 10 o'clock at night. I'm not gonna discuss numbers, okay, guys? But he sent me the offer. Another message came in, guys. He sent me the offer, but it was not a very good offer. So we counter offered, but our counter offer was pretty high, like way more towards our end than what they had offered. It was the buyers this all happened. So that happened Friday night. This happened then on Saturday. We counter offered and they accepted our offer. We're like in shock. We're like, we couldn't even believe it. It was a good offer. And the buyers, the buyers paid our closing costs. It was amazing. So we really got a really good deal. And we actually did not underprice our house. We priced it at a really good, we didn't overvalue it. We didn't undervalue it. We put it at a really good price, but not so high, you know. And then we actually ended up with almost exactly what we wanted the cash we wanted. We walked away with almost the cash amount that we wanted to walk away with. It was super good. So it all happened like so fast. Okay. Oh, it's so loud. Then we closed pretty much exactly a month. exactly, like a month, like a day or two later from when we originally listed it. It happened so fast. It was super crazy and super stressful, but it was amazing. It just made us feel that we were doing what God wanted us to do. It happened so fast. We got great money for it. And stop!
Go.
That one? The car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a boat, but okay. And then, so we just we came on a whim. My husband didn't have a job lined up. We just kind of came. It was one of those things. And the whole time that we were in Laredo and our friends they're like, y'all are crazy. Y'all are leaving without a job? What is your husband gonna do? I was like, guys, you need to stop. Okay, no more phone because you're acting crazy. Go away. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm not worried. My husband's not worried. We have faith. God's gonna take care of us. God is gonna take care of us. Why are y'all worried for us when we're the ones that are gonna go through it? But everybody was all, y'all are idiots. Y'all don't know what y'all are doing. The Dallas-Fort Worth area is super expensive. Blah, 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 blah. We're like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. And so we kind of like just came, right? With a little bit of money. Because we had a little... Okay, we're not millionaires, right? Not even close, not even at all, okay? We had a little bit of money. And that's all we had. That's like our only like backup. Yeah, the only one good thing, but we would never ask anybody for money. And my brother-in-law does live here in a fancy area, and they kind of have money a little bit. And so that's like the only support that we have here, but it's not financial support. It's more like emotional support, and not even for me because it's a long story. And anyways, I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but for my husband, it really gave him like a peace of mind to have his brother here. But now continuing, we came, my husband had no job. We stayed at a hotel for a week, and we got here. Oh, so right before, like a couple of days before we left, my husband just saw an ad. I don't know where he saw it, but he saw an ad that was saying that they were going to be hiring on the spot at the car dealership for a really, really long time. Because my husband, he's a very outgoing person. I've said this so many times. My husband's always wanted to get into sales. And so, for a really long time, my husband's been wanting to get into sales. But he felt that he needed to get like a secure job. But right before we left, he saw an ad somewhere that said that they needed, to fill a couple of car salesman positions. And my husband got super excited about it. And so he called, but he was still in Dallas. He called and he tried to set up an appointment for the interview. And the interview was like on Tuesday, a couple of days, like, so we left on a Friday. The interview was for Tuesday. So we're like, that's so crazy. How did you find like a position, like an interview? You got an interview right away. So we went to the hotel. We got settled in, we stayed in one hotel on Friday, but by Saturday we were already we were in Arlington. So we stayed at the hotel Saturday. And then between Saturday and Sunday, my husband and my son started to unload stuff. So Monday, my husband went, he got whatever stuff he needed ready for the interview. He went to his interview on Tuesday, and he got the job. And it was crazy. There was 50 applicants, or there was like 1 million applicants, but there was 50 interviews given out. And it was like one of those mass things, like how you see on you know, like the TV shows, like those where you want to be a star TV shows. I can't even think of one right now. I keep wanting to say Biggest Loser, but it's not that. Like where you go, America's Got Talent or something like that, where a whole bunch of people show up for interviews. Actually, but these were interviews that were handed out. People didn't just randomly show up for an interview. No, they had to have given you an appointment for the interview. And there was like 50 applicants. And then they started eliminating to where they ended up with only 5 salespeople. My husband was one of the 5. They interviewed him. He went to like 3 different interviews with 3 different like bosses or whatever, and they gave him the position. What was crazy about it was that they said, you don't have any sales experience. Why did you even think about applying for this position? And who let you in? I can't even think. How did you get through how did we not eliminate you immediately? They didn't understand how he was able to even get an interview. How did he end up with an interview? Somehow at some point there was some type of confusion where they thought that he had experience in sales. And they're like, how did we not weed you out before? They didn't understand how he was able to get in to interview with other people that had like years and years of experience in sales and in car sales. You know, it was crazy. And so my husband he's a charmer. He's, you know, he's a really cool guy. So yeah, they were like, and you know what? You don't even have, my husband is working at downtown Dallas. That's like the place to be. They're like, and you don't even want to start in just at the bottom. You want to start at the top. How, you know, it was just so crazy how my husband was able to even get this position, because he shouldn't even have gotten an interview, much less been hired. But it's, you know, God's providence. God takes care of us. And if you have faith, even if things look bleak, they always turn around. And everything always happens for a reason. It's just a matter of faith. So, it's all working out. It's all working out better than we expected. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And it's just, it goes to show that God takes care of you. And it makes me feel good that it validates my decision that I am doing the right thing. Because God put everything in its place and everything worked out so fast when I made the decision to become a Sedevacantist and to look for, you know, to continue on in that path. So that is why we came to Dallas, and that is why we're here. The next video I'm gonna make is gonna be about what the Sedevacantist position is. It is Catholic, guys. It is the true Catholic faith. I will make another video about that later. Thank you for watching a Catholic homeschooling family. God bless you. Bye bye.